And as telecom operators face rising complexity, cost pressures, and growing service demands, the industry is moving beyond traditional automation towards fully autonomous, self-optimizing networks. This session will explore how operators and ecosystem partners as well are progressing from automation to autonomy, and the role of AI-driven intelligence across the RAN and core, and how Open RAN and RIC platforms and advanced analytics are enabling closed-loop operations that at scale. Today's panelists are Afnan Ahmed. He's Director of Technology Strategy and Architecture at Telenor. And next to him is Fayed Khan. He's Senior Vice President, Global Sales, OSS Business Unit at Rakuten Symphony. And gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Second session here on day one here at the conference in Barcelona. Thanks to both of you for making it in. Our first session, we had a couple folks that couldn't make it in on time. Not their fault. Just taxis weren't available. So we appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Afnan, I want to start with you. Level 4 autonomy that I mentioned in the aforementioned introduction. If you can, give us sort of your futurist. What is the state of play right now, and what is your forecast over the next 3 years?
Yeah, thanks for the very good question. I think the standard definition of level 4 autonomy is that we would go from human-assisted operations to more agentic and system-assisted operations. That's the standard definition. I would probably use this word a lot during this talk today. For us in Telenor, or in general for operators, we have to make our networks more programmable. And level 4 for us, or level 4 and above for us, is making the network more programmable so that it is easier to manage and it is more monetizable. So that is our strategy. We are a part of the industry, the TM Forum. We have our targets to reach level 4. There is a flagship project that we are doing that we want to create a level 4 city in the Nordics. Telenor Group is Nordics by regional definition. So we want to create a full level 4 city rather than just one domain, level 4 everywhere. So yes.
Fayed, fully autonomous networks, certainly the RIC and Open RAN playing a big part there. Again, sort of setting the stage. Can you tell us how that's sort of fleshing out?
Yeah, I think the promise of autonomous network is only possible if you have the openness in the network. And I take even one step backwards or two step backwards, that when we started talking about the true virtualization of the stack, and that's the core essence. And I think with 4G, if we go with 3GPP standards, I think there was not so much of mandation. But I strongly believe that the cloud native architecture is fundamental to and the true promise of autonomous networks coming into the telco network. Now, Open RAN or RICs are basically the essence of driving that openness of the architecture and the cloud nativity, full virtualization possibilities, much better than the proprietary network. So I think without virtualization, truly cloud native, combined with the more openness of Open RAN and RIC platforms, autonomous network was never going to be possible. I know it's a little bit controversial or provoking for me to say that, but if we remain in the legacy and the silos, which I am sure Telenor experiences and other group operators or players experience, without that it will be impossible. And I also take possibly one level more, that autonomous network is not only about the technology that you're going from legacy to Open RAN or virtualize the stack. It's also about the organizational or the mindset change. We in Telco, and I sound like a broken tape record because I keep on talking about this all the time. We remain very slow moving, and we remain in our silos, and that's the way industry and our behaviors in the industry have panned out. Yeah. With this virtualization, Open RAN architecture, it has given us an opportunity also that the organizations can become from being less vertical to more horizontal, more intent driven, more cross-domain champions are required to achieve the true output and less verticalization in the hierarchy as well. The organizations needs to be more flatter with the all operational efficiency we can achieve by autonomous network. Because what do we want to achieve? We want to achieve that, networks are autonomous and less human intervention and more resources can be used otherwise.
Yeah.
And maybe before we progress, I would request that maybe Afnan, from Telenor experience, it's very exciting to hear that you guys are going for a level 4 city. Can you elaborate a little bit more on few specific examples that what do you want to achieve in there?
Yeah, I will, definitely I will. But I'll probably build on what you were saying. And like I said, I'm going to use the word programmability a lot. So when you started talking about Open RAN and cloud nativity and all of that, for me, all of that is when you disintegrate the traditional silos, the monoliths that we have installed all over the industry, we are moving towards something which is more programmable. RIC, for example, with the R apps and X apps and whatever else, is making the network more programmable. The applications on the RIC can come from you. I, as an operator, should be able to write my own applications, and a third party should be able to write the applications.
Absolutely.
Instead of everything coming from, I don't want to take the names of the vendors, but instead of every feature coming from one vendor. So the network needs to become more programmable. Then coming back to the autonomous city, the vision is the same. And that also touches on something, like I said, our problem is programmability for monetization. I don't think I'm alone to say that Telenor Group is facing the monetization challenge. I think the whole industry, the whole operator groups are facing the same, right? So how can you use autonomous networks to power the network as a growth engine? How can you use network not as a cost, but network as a service which can give you some revenue possibilities? And that is the main vision behind the autonomous city project as well. And I hope that we can work with partners like Rakuten and others who are more proponents of the open system and the open architecture, because that we think is necessary for us to succeed.
That's heartening to hear.
Afnan, I want to just piggyback on that a little bit. Certainly, operators are responsible for sort of the other side of the coin, if you will, when you're talking about AI driving autonomous networks or autonomy in the network. Governance, data quality, trust. Those are things that are sort of the monkeys on your back, if you will. How are you managing that in the current climate?
I'll rephrase your question. We have not been able to manage it very well as an industry, right? But we have to be able to manage it. There is no AI without data. And telcos, I think I've been in this industry for almost 3 decades, and there are people here who have been as long. We sit on a lot of data. We keep saying that we have a lot of data. We can't really use that data in a good monetizable way. So the first thing that we are doing, even in the autonomous city, is to create a data fabric. Fabric is probably the right word.
Absolutely.
You can't create a data lake. You mentioned security and so on. We are headquartered in the Nordics. We can't expose our network data to the public cloud. So we have to find ways to create that data fabric, that data mesh in on-prem, in our data centers. That is step number 1 for us. And then somehow to correlate that data, the data from the radio network, from the transport network, to the CRM data, to the fault management data, all of that needs to correlate. It's not impossible, but we've not been able to fully do it. So even Rakuten is actually special. You have a vendor leg called Symphony, and then you also have a mobile leg, which is Rakuten Mobile.
Mobile, yes.
So we look at Rakuten Mobile and some of the other customers, some of the other operators like that as inspiration. Because we are still running NOCs with dozens and hundreds of people, right? I started in the NOC back in 2000, right? The NOC is still operated. In most operators, still the same. 24/7 people coming in and going. That has to change.
Absolutely.
And without AI and without data federated, without AI agents taking on some of that role, it's very impossible. Then there's no autonomous networks. You can take a shout, I have autonomous network level 4 here and there. And when we talk about the value of it, it's very difficult to point to what have you been able to create. So that's the thing with autonomous city. Coming back to your question, we want to be able to show that we have been able to move the needle significantly.
But would you be able to break the silos and do it like with a completely new setup? Because I'm sure, like any other environment in that network, you have a lot of legacy and monoliths. So are you gonna be transforming that or going from scratch to implement that?
We don't have the luxury to go from scratch, right? We are Telenor is a 160-year-old company. So we sit on a legacy. It's not a greenfield network. We have all sorts of, but we still are hoping that's why we have geographically sort of fenced it to say we want to create an autonomous network here. Then organization, mindset, data, AI, all that needs to be solved, but needs to be solved in a way that it can scale, right? So it can scale to not only that network, other parts of the network, but also to other countries. So the whole architecture needs to be AI-centric, data-centric. It cannot be product-centric, if I can use that word.
So it requires a lot of revolutionary actions in that cluster or city.
Yeah. So more than mindset, you need, I think, top executive sponsorship.
I think it's a very important point.
So they then you say, no, we need to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, throughout this conversation, you've been talking sort of peripherally about collaboration in the industry and how important that is. As far as interoperability, and Faik, I'll start with you, and standards, how much of a role does that play right now as we move towards this level 4 autonomy?
So opportunity is huge. I will build up on the question you're asking, Abe, and I will also piggyback a little bit what Afnan said and try to bring a few points together. We take a lot of pride that in Rakuten, a massive network, pan-Japan, we operate with less than 200 people or around 200 people, which is commendable with the simpler set of solution sets or one stack in a complete virtualized manner. We are able to do that. Of course, we had the luxury that we could build this from the scratch for a greenfield, and we did the right thing. Now, you know, in a proprietary, in a legacy environment, the challenge is the monopoly game. Again, without naming our proprietary vendors, legacy vendors who are monetizing and have the monopoly, they don't want to open interfaces, whether you're talking about CIPRI interfaces or certain other configuration interfaces, and that's their bread and butter. Now, industry has an opportunity that if we can support more open architecture, the truly virtualized stacks, we can break this barrier, but it's a hard one, and it needs more push towards the proprietary vendors also to be as open as possible, and we see some progress over there. So I don't see this as a challenge. It's very much doable because all the standards are pretty standard. The challenge is only if some legacy vendor is trying to control it and monetize it or monopolize it, then you are in that situation. Otherwise, it's very standard in Rakuten network. We have a set of dozens of component vendors who are completely open, virtualized. With interoperability is no issue, and same efforts with TM Forum, with Open RAN Alliance. I don't see this a challenge, and it's improving more and more. So
yeah, I think I'll just add to that. I think this is a very good point. I'll start at the end. You have the TM Forum with the Autonomous Network Project or mission, they call it. I actually sit on the leadership team of that mission. We have the 3GPP. We have the Open RAN Alliance, as you said. We have the AI RAN Alliance. I've heard that GSMA is starting Autonomous Network Project. This is complex for us to follow. So standardization and making all these autonomous network things standard is extremely important.
Yeah.
So going back to what you said, following open standards, keeping interfaces open, whichever interfaces they are, making data democratized,
exactly.
so that anyone can use the data anywhere. That's what makes the networks more usable, monetizable, programmable. So you're spot on. It's a lot happening in the industry. So it's sometimes you get lost in the fog of Open RAN Alliance, but what is AI RAN Alliance doing? TM Forum is saying this, but it's not a standardization body. What is GSMA or 3GPP saying? Yeah. So it's a lot sometimes. Yes.
Yeah. One just very quick futurist question before we go, Faik, I'll start with you, and then Afnan, if you could pick up on it. If we're sitting here this time next year talking about level 4 autonomy or autonomous networks, as far as telcos go, what do you think the topic would be or should be?
I do see some operators really making, if I get the question right, making really leaps of success on this. I mean, as Rakuten Mobile, we just announced autonomous network level 4 on few of our high value scenarios. I know that one of the Telenor operation in Asia also announced. So there is a lot of good work being done. Even if we look into TM Forum, there are multiple high value scenarios, and the true monetization, the true benefits are going to come as we achieve more and more of these high value scenarios and able to get the right, juice out of it. So I strongly believe that the industry focus is there. The legacy players or our traditional operators are also trying to break the barriers and push the boundaries of the current major players to open the interfaces more and more and democratize the data and have that ability that we can do the right thing with it. So we are on the right track. I do believe that we will be more progress by next year. Can we go one level more? I think we still have a lot of work to get to there.
Yeah, no, I think well said. I'll just piggyback on what you said. In 1 year, I hope the operators cannot talk about we have launched level 4 this and level that, but they can actually show the value of what they have been able to achieve with it.
Sure.
Right? And I'm not looking for a 2% improvement in OPEX and 3% improvement there. I'm looking for something like almost envious when you say that you're running the network with 200 people. If you can say that my NOC was 120 people, now I'm running it with 10 or 15 people. That's something that tells me that you have actually been able to move the needle. You can actually, something monetizable. I've been able to reduce the OPEX or CAPEX efficiency by not 2% or 5%, by 50% or 80%
outcome.
Because it is possible. And then I'm not saying that you get rid of all the NOC people. There is so much to do in our networks. You use those people not to look at screens and follow alarms, but for some actual monetizable revenue value generating work. So in 1 year, I hope we get more of those examples rather than I have a level 4 high value scenario here and a level 4.
Very well said.
You have done that. We have done that. It doesn't move the needle. We have to be able to move the needle.
Yeah. Level 4 autonomous networks will sit here almost exactly this time next year, give or take a day. And we'll see if your prediction came true. Maybe not a prediction, just a projection rather.
At least in the autonomous city, our ambitions are what I just said, that we can actually move the needle.
Okay.
So
good.
my prediction is that not hope, that's not a prediction. The prediction is that we will be able to move the needle, at least in that city. Then the prediction is that hopefully we can scale it properly. It's not something that sits in one city and somehow that architecture and that data cannot scale. Those high value scenarios cannot scale. It's not vendor agnostic. It's not scaling to other domains. It's not, if that happens, of course, then we are in for trouble. But I hope, my prediction is that we'll be able to scale this.
And we will be having a showcase of this in Telenor booth or Rakuten booth, and we'll be talking about this next year. That's
why not? Why not?
Well, we're looking forward to it, and it's good to have you. Interesting discussion, Afnan. It's the first time we met, so we appreciate you.
Thank you for having
this panel session with us. Afik, as usual, helped out with putting this together, by the way, and of course, Rakuten support in putting this together as well. So we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll see you in Singapore or Dubai, maybe.
Hopefully, what remains a very nice place, and we all can travel.
Very good. Yeah, very good. Welcome to Nordics, both of you. Anytime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.